Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to J&J GeoDev. I'm Juros, and today we'll be creating our first web page using HTML, and we'll go over the setup we need as well, so let's jump right into it. So to start off, we're going to need some sort of IDE, or an integrated development environment, and this is basically a software that allows us to write code for computer programs. And some IDEs also come with a variety of useful features that help us write code faster. I can make the development process a lot easier. So some examples of an IDE include PyCharm, IntelliJ, Eclipse, NetBeans, and Visual Studio Code, which is the one we'll be using throughout the video. And one thing that I'd like to know before we continue is that we can also use any text editor like Sublime or Notepad that allows us to create and save a file, as we'll only be working with HTML here. So after installing Visual Studio Code onto your machine, we can open it and we'll be presented with this screen. So here we can choose which files or folders to open, and if you don't have any created yet, that is completely okay. I've already created a folder where to store my HTML file, so I'm gonna quickly jump to it. So to create a file that we can write code in, we can basically click on this button right here and we can give it a name. So generally speaking, a good conventional name for our main HTML file would be index.html, but you can name it pretty much anything you like if you're not happy with index, but make sure to include the .html extension after the name, as this basically indicates that we are going to be creating a HTML file. Now that we have an IDE to work with and a file to write code in, it is time to begin building our web page. So to get started, we will first build the basic structure of a HTML document and then expand upon that. So we are first going to include a doctype HTML tag at the very top of our file. And right underneath it, we're going to put a pair of HTML tags. So anything that we put in between these tags is going to be a valid HTML. And we are also going to put a head tag. And underneath it, we're going to have a body tag, just like this. And if you're wondering how are the tags automatically closing, that is because I have an extension for that called AutoClose tag that you can download straight from the extension section in VS Code, and it basically saves us time by automatically adding a close tag to an element. And also, if this is your first time seeing any of these tags or even hearing the word HTML, we already have a video on the basics of HTML, which I'll make sure to link in the card on the top right corner of your screen if you haven't seen it already. So let's have a closer look at what we have here. We are basically given a head tag and a body tag. So we'll mostly be focusing on the body tag, but let's jump into the head tag for a minute. So here we can use the title tag, which will essentially allow us to set the title of our web page. That is going to be displayed on the top of the browser where all the tabs go. And here we can also include tags such as link and script that will allow us to link and essentially establish a connection between our HTML file and other files such as a CSS file or a JavaScript file. But I won't include them in this video as we'll only be looking at building a page using solely HTML. So moving on to the body tag, here is where we'll be placing our elements that we want to display onto the web page. So firstly, we can have a h1 tag that basically serves as the main heading of our web page, and right underneath it we can add a p tag with some additional information to our web page, just like this. That's great so far, but how exactly do we see the content displayed into a web browser? So for that purpose, we can use another extension called Live Server, which essentially allows us to view our HTML live in the browser. So if we go back, right click on our HTML file and select Open with Live Server, This will open a new tab in our preferred browser where we'll be able to see our web page. And here we can see the title of our web page, the heading, and also the paragraph that we added. Magic. So let's add some more content to our web page. Next up, we can have two different lists, one displaying IDEs and the other displaying text editors. So I'm going to create another heading, this time H2, which will be slightly smaller than the H1, and also a UL tag, which stands for unordered list, and basically represents a bullet point list. And inside this UL tag, I'm going to put a few LI tags or list items that will essentially represent an item within our list. So let's save and see what our web page will look like. So as we can see, we have our list of IDEs displayed, but I'm also going to add the BR tag, which basically adds some vertical space between our elements, so our content, we have some breathing space. Let's add one more list for the text editors. So here we can use the BR tag once again to give us some extra space. And next up we'll have another heading, but this time instead of the UL tag, I'll use the OL tag, which basically stands for ordered list. And the difference being that instead of representing the list items with bullet points, it will use numerical values instead. So the first item in the list will be 1, the second 2, and so on. So let's not forget to add our list items as well. So let's save, and as we can see, both of our lists are being displayed onto our web page, which is awesome. And next up, we can add some more information at the bottom of our web page. So for this purpose, we're going to create another paragraph tag, and inside of it, we're going to put an A tag that will take a visitor of our web page to a different place on the web where they can find more information regarding IDEs and text editors. So let's save, and as we can see, we have all our content displayed onto the web page. And if we click on this hyperlink here, we'll be taken to the article, which is exactly what we wanted. And we can simply go back by clicking the back arrow. And that's pretty much how we can create a web page using HTML. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it useful, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.